I promise to address acupuncture points in the second part. How do I use the Tesla2Go? Of course, I always recommend my Launch 1 Masterpoints. There is a free video on YouTube that costs nothing, free for everyone. Everyone should first learn to play with high-frequency acupuncture, since before acupuncture, everyone has a huge, crazy aspect. Only doctors and the Chinese are allowed to say that one must study for 800 years to be able to do it. Back then, I said yes, then I don't even need to start. I have never seen anyone who is 800 years old. So if you think logically, you can imagine that these myths are completely pointless. Then I started working with the regular Tesla and created an acupuncture system from it, writing a whole book about it. One should not compare it too closely with traditional Chinese medicine, which has become very Western-oriented after the Second Cultural Revolution. So even there, we have a better way to help people more quickly with acupuncture, using the tent tuners to improve suffering or even to completely eliminate it, although we always have to be careful with the word heal. Now we don't have the large tent, but rather the small Tesla2Go. So anyone who wants to play around with it can check out the Launch 1 Masterpoints on YouTube. So now it's about the fact that I have some products on my website, including, of course, my book. Among other things, you can buy the tent tuner from me or other products, including the water regenerator, for example. We definitely have some products that make a lot of sense to combine. Or also the Tesla balance, which we simply plug into the socket, and it measurably changes the quality of the environment, the frequency of the environmental quality. In addition, this device, as well as the Tesla balance, which is then plugged into the socket, is a red shielding agent. The better energy, the higher energy, resonates above the lower energy against, for example, G radiation, microwaves, and so on. Mobile phone radiation is an excellent protection, so it is worth trying it out for yourself. I will play a short video again with the measuring device. We have a small measuring device that you can also buy on my website, where you can actually measure from a distance of up to 21 meters. Classically, it is still easy and straightforward to measure at a distance of 2 to 3 meters. No. The effect is that strong. We can easily energetically structure a room of 15 to 21 square meters completely within seconds. And when you have it for a longer time, the entire space becomes more and more fulfilled, or you have the Tesla2Go. Now, however, there are also products from René Knopf, specifically the quantum products, and we have become friends, which has brought us joy in combining powders with the energy. So the basic idea behind it is that the powders are the substance which one would refer to as yin in traditional Chinese medicine, and the energy is yang. So when we provide the body with yin and yang, we achieve an optimal effect. We have only the energy and the substance is lacking. Well, one can certainly imagine that the healing process or optimization would be slow. Perhaps one is healthy and wants to engage in higher physical or mental activities. If the substance is lacking, that is why so many people take supplements. However, I say please only supplements that make sense in relation to the individual person. But now we have exactly the opposite problem. We have enough supplements and many people feel the same way. Supplements are bought for hundreds, even thousands of euros. At one point, my entire kitchen was full of them, and yet they didn't work properly. What was the reason for that? Well, the corresponding energy field is missing, and the 150 MHz depend on the caliper cell input and output, osmotic pressure, etc. It is worth reading the books, as it makes it easier for the substance to enter the cell and take effect. So both are important, the yin and the yang. Now we first have the 6 main products from René. I promised René that I would like to show which point I would recommend for this and which one it is. Let me get my glasses so I can read better. I've always been good at hearing poorly. My grandma always said NMN is one of the products, MNN. NMN is one of the products. It is the molecule that ensures healthy cell function. Yes, that is exactly what the Tesla2Go and the big Tesla also do. So that means it is a way to protect against diseases and strengthen muscle power by simply having more potential in substance, MNN, and energy. 150 millihertz combines little. For this, I always recommend the lung point. The master point of the lung is located exactly between the two nipples. There is a hole on the sternum. You can feel it on the sword, or what do you call it again? So it's not the sternum, it's a clavicle. And then you have I can show it a little bit. You then have a seam. I'll do it a bit higher up. Otherwise, I'll have to take everything off here. It's a bit further down. I just stick that on, maybe 2001 or something. All right, yes, exactly. I put it up here. I got a signal regarding the microphone. Jogi Laris. By the way, this is an important point. RAND 22. If you are hesitant to say anything, you can place a turquoise on it, make a point like that, or wear it here in the front. Then one feels better again. One becomes better in expression, not only verbally, but also partially through the whole body. By the way, this will be included in one of my upcoming books later. Spirituality would be the connection between spirituality and psychology. In martial arts, this point will become particularly relevant. So you can stick it exactly on RAND 17 between the two nipples on the sternum and then wear it all day with the coil over a collar. And then we have, so to speak, the NMN point. That would be the 1 point. I'll just remove it again. 2001. We also have resveratrol, one of the key antioxidants. That means everything against cancer, neutralizes free radicals, and is highly brain activating. So which point did I choose for this? Of course, the strongest of all points. That is good for defense. The large intestine 4, in Chinese it is called Hegu, big eliminator. This is when you basically have the angle between the thumb and index finger here, going in slightly diagonally. At the back of the bone, there is a relatively large hole. You quickly feel it. It's a bit painful. And the Hegu is stuck there with the acupuncture needle. Here you can either leave them lying down or, as I showed earlier, secure them with tape or with a rubber band, or cut up a glove or an old sock and pull it over the wrist and fingers. I usually make a hole so that I can keep my thumb free, allowing me to move around. That's how I do it, at least. And then you can switch it to the left side or the right side. Thick steam 4, the back eliminator, that is the point that essentially throws out everything harmful from the body. Now I just saw that the device should, of course, also be turned on for this. One can use the 150 MHz, or of course one can go ahead and apply the 144 MHz. Both are healing energies, but I always prefer the 150 MHz, the sky energy. So the Resveratrol 1000 point is dictum 4 Hegi. Then we have TMG. It was quite interesting when I researched it afterward. There was very little in German. There is a lot in English. It is important to say this now. It improves the response of antibodies, enhances the function of PB and T cells, and also regulates cytokines. What does that mean? In short, so we don't get too scientific or too medical here, it's easy for anyone to learn. It is effective against all viral and bacterial infections. It can always be used sensibly. In this case, I would also recommend taking the large intestine 4 point, which I have just shown as a great defense point for the immune system, as a defense mechanism, and I would be happy to demonstrate this on my own foot. I really hope that I don't have to get up too much. It's between my second toe and my big toe. I simply go here by the big toe and show the toe. I go down here where the triangle ends, where the metatarsal bones end. There I have the point, liver 3. This is the largest use and detox point in principle that we have together with Helg. These are Kung Fu defense systems of the body. Liver 3 combined with large intestine 4. So for me, liver 3 applies even though it is the detox point simultaneously with large intestine 4. Always as the 2 or the TMG point. I diligently wrote everything down so that I can present it as well as possible and not forget anything. Soon, starting at the end of October, after our Body, Mind, Soul event, 3 more products will also be launched. One of them is taurine. Taurine is also a powerful antioxidant, capturing free radicals, forming bile acids, and primarily serving to aid in fat burning. I recommend the NMN point. It is the gate of life point located at the back of the body, and that can be found relatively easily. You go to the lower rib and you reach into the ribs like this. The ribs are at the top, the pelvis is at the bottom, so to the sides 2001 along the rib. And when you now run your thumbs along and they meet at the back, they meet at the second spinous process of the lumbar vertebra. And there it is. I can't show it myself right now. I can't really reach my back like that. You can also have someone else, like a partner, friend, or child, insert the needle for you. This is definitely a very, very meaningful point as it straightens the spine. Taurine, as the name suggests, brings out the bull in you, the Taurus in you. One becomes stronger, more antioxidant, full of life, improves quality of life, posture, strength, and aids in fat burning when exercising, along with the point. What is interesting about the whole matter, and this is very important for me to mention, is that an important point is that taurine is also a significant product against stress, anxiety, depressive moods, or even depression. And that is exactly what the Ming Man does as well. One is no longer so dejected, but instead at the back of the spine, one activates the Kundalini point. That means it uplifts you and you immediately feel a bit better. Therefore, he has a very, very strong connection, not only on a physical level, but also on a psychological level. Du Mingmen with taurine. So for me, the 4 Mingmen is definitely the classic taurine point. We still have creatine, not keratin, so don't confuse them. It helps with muscle building and muscle strength when you are exercising. When you combine these two things, taurine and creatine, you can get back on your feet relatively quickly. So you regain your strength quickly. I myself experienced a bit of burnout from working too much, but I applied this now and naturally feel like Superman again. It didn't happen that quickly, but still fairly fast. At least faster than if you were to consider 1,000 other strange things that don't really sound bad, but could be placed in context. I stuck to that. A little exercise, some Tai Chi, and then the combination of creatine with the acupuncture point, stomach 6 and 30. I'll quickly say something about stomach 6 and 30. Magen 6 and 30 is called Susan Liu Sand in Chinese, as it represents 3,000-mile points. And I always enjoy telling the story, and I always say not to play around with it. You can only do that once in a lifetime. In China, we use the large Moxa cigar to specifically apply pressure on the point stomach 6 and 30. As a result, a painful, huge blister forms in people who have now grown older and no longer have strength. And they usually come in feeling weak to the Chinese doctor. And then he asks, "Yes, how old are you?" "Yes, about 83," and no response. No response. And then that is done. And then the people, the men and women, can walk out of the practice upright. But of course they have a burn. So one must be careful. You can really only do that once. And then with the red ginseng and so on, people can walk another 3,000 miles. Hence the expression 3,000 point comes from. So this is the strongest revitalization point. And since muscle building and muscle strength belong to the earth anyway, I said that stomach 6 and 30 is now my favorite creatine point. I have to get up now to show it briefly. You won't see my face, but that's not so bad. You can see it on my knee. You bend the knee at a 90-degree angle and place your hand on it. The ring finger, which is the finger where the ring is, automatically falls down. The spot on the shin, if it falls, has a little hole there, 2001. There is also the point stomach 6 and 30. Oh, here stomach 6 and 30. Susan Lee, yes, you can also secure the sock there or fix it in another way. And then switch back and forth between left and right in between. And then we have, with stomach 6 and 30, we have the absolute creatine point for muscle building and muscle strength. Last but not least, there's always a bit of a smile, spermidine. Yes, it sounds like what it is, but it has nothing to do with it, or actually not at all. It rejuvenates not only the cells, but also reduces inflammation and lowers cholesterol in the body. Someone who has worked as much as I have in the last 3 years, especially in Swabia, in Stuttgart, enjoying the delicious Kässpätzle and great food, well, my blood test showed a little bit too high cholesterol. I have taken spermidine and have also been able to use it effectively as a cholesterol-lowering agent. Who is my favorite spermidine point? That is the Qi high point. It means more Qi, more energy. Point is my favorite point for this, also called the Tantian high point, and I need to briefly show it again now. If you go down approximately 2 fingers from the navel, you will find a small hole, which would be about the Dantian high point or so. In Chinese, we always say the rider gets into the saddle. You can attach it to the belt or the other way around, or use glue. And then you can wear it here all the time without it bothering you in everyday life. And then basically my favorite, spermidine, Ren 6, also with fields. So that was a recap of the important products from Qvantum, from René Knopf, which points are included. One could also choose other points, but I have been practicing acupuncture for a long time, 33 years, and these are the points that I can recommend. I also recommend checking out my Landing One Masterpoints on YouTube, as the explanations are presented there as well. And with that, I would like to thank you all again. It's great that you have followed me so attentively in 21, and I hope you can make something of it. Then I would say the third part is coming up, where I will explain the marketing concept for the Tesla2Go.